your maroon and
Yes,
white,
ma'am.
full Aggie pride. What do you think when you look around the crowd here?
Well, we know that the Bushes loved Aggieland, so we just step out and show the same love. Because they loved us, we're going to show them that Aggieland loved them and respect them. So, you know.
That's why it's important.
That's why it's important. They love Aggies and we love them. So.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So just another example of all the people who are gathered here. Some of them are alums, some of them are College Station natives, some have come up from Houston, from Austin, wanting to be here to show their support to the Bush family in this very difficult time. And we're keeping still a close eye out for the motorcade as it will make its way from Texas Avenue northbound and then here to George Bush Drive before making its way onto the library site for that private service, just family, that will be gathering there to say their final goodbyes to Mrs. Bush in just a few moments here. You see traffic is still coming in this direction here, so they're not ready to shut it down just yet. But again, anticipation growing, crowd growing as we await the 13-car motorcade that will be making its way here to the final resting place. Folks gathered here to say their final goodbyes to a woman who they say meant so very much to this community.
When the motorcade left Houston on Highway 290, making its way to Highway 6, police and highway patrolmen blocked off 290 and Highway 6 all the way en route so that this 13-car motorcade would not be impeded in any way en route to College Station and Mrs. Bush's final resting place. But there in College Station itself, it appears, Sion, that they haven't shut off the road at all. We still see traffic going up and down as the motorcade supposedly draws near to the library there.
And after the motorcade passes where Sion is, she's at George Bush Drive. It will then make a right turn onto Barbara Bush Drive as they, they approach the library. And then we understand the interment is going to be very short, just about a 10 to 15-minute private ceremony for the family, and that will conclude today's services. But in the meantime, we have Aggies in Aggieland anxiously awaiting the arrival of former First Lady Barbara Bush and the procession to come through, which is supposed to happen momentarily.
The Texas A&M Corps of Cadets have lined the road there as well. 700 cadets, we're told, will be there to honor the former First Lady. Jonathan Martinez is joining us as well from the site. Jonathan?
Hey guys, you know, we are expecting that motorcade to arrive in just the next couple of minutes or so, and once they get here, they will be welcomed by the Corps of Cadets. In fact, we do have a shot of that right there. Truly an amazing sight to see some 700 members of the group lining up along Barbara Bush Drive to see the former First Lady off. It is still unclear if the Bugle Corps will be playing or simply standing at attention. That, of course, is something we are still waiting to see. And once that procession arrives, it'll be passing directly in front of the George Bush Library, and it'll be making its way around a circular drive. From there, it will be making a turn and head towards the back of the library where that procession will end. And just past the pond and beyond a set of gates is where the former First Lady will be buried alongside her daughter Robin, who passed away at the age of 3 from leukemia. It is a private burial with several relatives and close friends expected to be here for that service, but we are not expecting the burial itself to last too terribly long, with those in attendance leaving shortly thereafter. As you all mentioned a little bit ago, today the library is closed ahead of the funeral, but will reopen tomorrow with extended hours through Tuesday. We're also being told the burial site will likely be open to the public on Monday. Additionally, it is worth noting, though, that there will be a condolence book inside for folks who would like to express their well wishes to the Bush family. That will stay up for some 30 days. Guys, back over to you.
Jonathan, our understanding is that once the motorcade passes in front of the library in that circular drive that you described, that will be the end of the televised coverage, because the burial service itself, the interment, is private. There will be no televised coverage of that, correct?
Yes, in fact, they were just giving us a heads up that once it does pass this circular drive and it makes that turn, we're being told at that point our cameras are to go dark again. This is a private burial, so they certainly want to respect the wishes of the Bush family at this moment.
And indeed we will. Thank you. Thank you for briefing our audience as to what they can expect. But again, you can see many people, the Corps of Cadets out there right now, ready to salute the First family. We anticipate Barbara Bush's arrival shortly, along with the procession, the funeral procession that's making its way into College Station right now. This is going to be a very brief conclusion to what has been such a beautiful, beautiful ceremony and celebration of her life today. If you saw the funeral earlier, and I don't know of anybody who really didn't, it was such a lovely tribute to an incredible woman. And the irony is that everything has run not just on time, but ahead of time, which is exactly as Barbara Bush would have wanted it.
As Sion pointed out earlier, Mrs. Bush will be buried near her daughter Robin, who died in 1953 at the age of 3 years old. Keep in mind that Mrs. Bush was only 28 years old when she lost her precious 3-year-old daughter to leukemia. The doctors had told them that she was expected to live only 2 weeks. She did last about another 7 months. The profound sadness that she suffered at that time, that she experienced at that time, and stayed with her all this time, and now she finally lays next to her precious daughter Robin. Here comes the motorcade heading towards the library.
There will be numerous emergency vehicles that surround the procession, the motorcade as well. That's what we just saw. And Sion, what are you seeing from your vantage point?
Yes, guys, we see the flashing lights approaching. You all just saw the motorcycle officers clearing the crowd from the streets, and the motorcade is finally making its way here along George Bush Drive. Very slowly, the escort is underway of Mrs. Bush, Houston's First Lady, as we call her, of course, one of America's former First Ladies, beloved by so many, headed to her final resting place at her husband's library here on the campus of Texas A&M University.
The motorcade, as you see proceeding here on George Bush Drive, will turn onto Barbara Bush Drive, where the Corps of Cadets is waiting, as we saw when we were talking to Jonathan Martinez. And there is the hearse right in front of us here going down George Bush Avenue.
The family following closely behind in all the black vehicles that you see going by, making their way, as Bill just said, to Barbara Bush Drive, the appropriate end to this beautiful celebration of such a wonderful woman's life.
Let's see if we can pick up Jonathan Martinez now, who will be where the motorcade will be seen next. Jonathan?
In fact, yeah, we are standing by right now, Bill. More than anything, we are just standing and waiting, as are the Corps Cadets there. Again, some 700 members have lined Barbara Bush Drive. So we're told that motorcade will be going down Texas Avenue, taking a left on George Bush Drive. That is where folks were also being encouraged to line the streets. They got here early despite the weather. That is where they remain right now to catch one last glimpse of the procession as it passes by. That procession taking some 2 hours as it left St. Martin's Church in Houston, even taking a route across Memorial Park before making its way out here to College Station. So from the vantage point, I believe right now that the next vantage point we will see is when that procession is on George Bush Drive. It'll ultimately make its way down here and it'll turn on Barbara Bush Drive, and that is where the Corps Cadets are standing by waiting right now, along with all the other members of the media and even some of the members of the Secret Service and staff out here. They pulled out the umbrellas, you know, the inclement weather so far holding off at the perfect time right now. So we're really just standing by to again, one more final farewell for the former First Lady. Bill and Dominique.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Now they have proceeded down George Bush Avenue, and I think they have now made the turn onto Barbara Bush Avenue. So very soon they will arrive right at this location here, where the Corps of Cadets awaits the motorcade, and then they will go up to the George Bush Library, make one turn in front of the circular drive. You will see that, and then you will see them drive past that. And then, as Jonathan pointed out, we have been asked to bring our cameras down, to go to black, so to speak, to honor the family's request that the burial be private.
Right now, you are seeing the Corps of Cadets. What you saw prior a combination of people from Aggie Land, people from Texas, even a few New Yorkers sprinkled in the crowd. Remember, that's where Barbara Pierce Bush was from. And there were a couple of people who hail from New York who wanted to be there to represent that part of her history. So many people feeling a sense of connection to her because of the connection that she made to our community, her connection through the first family, through being a mother, a grandmother, but most importantly, her work in promoting literacy. It has resonated worldwide. She is known for that. She is revered for that. She will be a national treasure because of her value system in that. And so what you've seen today is truly a reflection of people who want to honor and pay their respects to a woman who made such a lasting impact. And this is going to be a beautiful end to what has been a remarkable day and remarkable coverage of this woman's life.
Momentarily, the motorcade will come into view here where the cadets are standing there on that culvert. And then once, as we mentioned before, here it comes now, just as we mentioned before, just as it goes past the library and our cameras go to black, there will be no other persons but family allowed. In fact, the coffin will be transferred from the hearse by a joint military honor guard that is standing by to do that. It will be very private, only family. The Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Marines, the Air Force will be there to transfer the casket from the hearse to the burial spot.
All arms raised in salute now as the hearse makes its way through. This is a beautiful sight.
This is the very final moment that anyone but family will see Barbara Bush.
They're making a right past the library, flags flying at half staff. The interment will be brief, 10 to 15 minutes, giving the family a final chance to say their farewells. You see a few sprinkles of rain on the camera lens there. Our pearls from heaven, as we're going to call them today. I don't know about you, Bea, but I feel so blessed that we got to call her our own. That she was such a part of the fabric here in the Houston area and here in College Station, that everyone feels such a great connection to this remarkable lady.
She was a Houston treasure and will remain forever. This is the point at which our cameras have been asked not to broadcast any further. We're going to honor that as folks disembark to attend the funeral. We want to thank you very much for joining us as we say this final farewell to Barbara Bush. We're going to return you now to the Stanley Cup Finals.
And we'll see you again tonight on our news at 6 o'clock. Thank you for being with us.